to those. Now, for how long is another question, but that was more, that will tie into the CS alert probably for canceled units. And then how long do we have that visibility? I don't know that you need it much more than a year or two. Yeah, and that's part of the spike is understanding what canceled by the manufacturer versus what the client made unclaimed. And if we can distinguish between the two, that was the question in the spike to see if we can even. This is a good point.
Let us take that one offline, and we could. Reason I'm even bringing it up a little bit is, Clay, help me. That was Mule deleting those off. Okay, that's why I'm bringing it up. So if Mule's deleting it, we're on a 5-year backlog with them as well. So we might as well go ahead and it might be good to, I hate to say it, it might be good just to bring that, or Gabriel, if you got it, if you could find that ticket for me, throw that our way, and then let me go ahead and get a ticket on that side, at least get it going to have that job turned off. And then you all could figure out if you want to delete based on different classifications. We can handle that in Salesforce versus MuleSoft. That way you can slice and dice it and filter it all you want better on our side versus have to wait 6 months to get a MuleSoft change in that's taken now.
You're talking
that might be the saving grace there, is that it would be a shut the job off, not make changes to it.
Yeah. We might get lucky to be able to say they'll just throw it in real quick. And then it's on us. Then we can we'll have the ownership of however you all want to delete it after that if you want.
Were you asking her the canceled unit ticket? Is that what you're wanting?
Okay,
so Gabrielle, that's SF 1606 for that spike. Just so you have it, you can dig around.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
1606.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Yeah.
The other thing in our list now that Amanda is back is.
Welcome back.
Oh, you want to look at this?
We don't need to address it right now. I was just noting it in there just so we can circle back to it to see if there's anything that we can also respond back on the team chat about. Not meant to derail, just for making sure.
It's okay. That's more impressing. So we can definitely talk real quick. Are y'all aware of any issues with the Salesforce Digest?
And we're not.
Anywhere there's an incident.
Are you responding, Amanda? Oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we're on a call with a few members from the team right now, and we can
take a look at it.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I think part of the concern with it is that's how some people get notified of some of their action items because they don't necessarily live in. They do all of their work and a lot of their work in Salesforce, but they don't necessarily live in Salesforce for how they get notified of it because they're working between customer email correspondence and tasks that they may get.
How many tasks did you say, Brad? Like 6 million or something were in the system?
I think it's a little under 3 million, but it's up there. Oh, you're talking about old tasks just sitting out there? Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
million.
While Clay's looking at that, Amanda and Brad, the question we want to talk about is the must be great quality index. So confirmed with Brad last week that he did think cases was the right way to go for that when they're logging the notes and that whole process. So wanted to confirm with you that you agreed with that. That was the steps to log the meeting notes, write the prompts, and then the managers are going in and ranking it 1, 2, and 3 on the back end. Is that still the route we want to go? And so we can look at how we want to get the requirements from
I
them.
might need an education on how cases is the way to resolve notes for events. Is it the way that that's being walked through? Is it that flow, or is it an actual case?
I apologize. Tell me about this one more time. This is not the Ryan Gardner one, is it?
Plyler. Hang on one second.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Brad, will you hit record? I like to have a backup. My notes
Uh-huh.
suddenly don't make sense to me the next day.
Record it is.
Thank you.
Okay. I found it. This is the little PowerPoint's opening up.
Recording in
I'm
progress.
not going to put it in presentation mode, but just to get the gist of it, it's loading. Can you see it now?
Yes.
You remember now? Okay.
I do.
They're putting in the core meeting notes and going through the process of logging that information, and the managers were going weekly and ranking the quality.
Gotcha. Okay. So back on that first one, this is a I don't know if it's cases or not. We talked about having like a custom object at one point for meetings and kind of follow-up stuff. We had talked about doing something like that, and that way you can add more fields. Like you were showing there, you've got multiple fields that you want to kind of combine and put together. Could we have some discussions on this? Maybe a little 30-minute, we could just kind of go through it real good.
Yeah, and I could be saying the wrong thing. I refer to cases as anything that goes through that like Ask Jack system.
Yeah.
So maybe the case is not the right, but that was the flow that y'all were thinking would be the best. And I don't know if cases and Ask Jack are one and the same.
Yep, it is. Cases, great point. Cases are part of it, but you're bringing up a good point that this is the area. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. We were talking about, let me log in. We've not mocked this up yet. Just an initial. Let's get in there. Other than just an initial classification, basically. So Ask Jack. We had the cases, we've been doing all that work up here, and then this activities down here with the meeting logs. We were thinking about, maybe a follow-up meeting kind of thing where you click into that, and then to your point, you were having up there showing all the different fields. We could have a screen flow going through that where they can enter all that. We were just considering maybe doing a custom object and then having it on the account or on the contact or however you want to do it as part of that. We need to blow that out a little bit with some thoughts and talk, but that's kind of what we were heading at. But yes, screen flows and the cases are all in there too with meetings.
So what's the next step look like?
That was what I was confirming. If we're all in agreement that that is the right flow, then we can go back and get requirements and then work on prioritizing it and all that stuff. But we left it a couple weeks ago as let's all digest it and see if this is the route we want to go with it versus a task. So if we all agree on that, then we can move forward with the requirements.
This functionality here with Ask Jack, whatever we're going to call this, that all can live in the mobile too. So a person on the road can do the same exact thing. They can go in here and click into a meeting, run through the questions, go through all that, just like they would.
And to clarify, like in the example of, let's say it was a meeting and it's customer service notes, right? If I'm thinking about the MPG quality stuff, right? So it's going to be touch calls, it's going to be wows, and it's going to be core meetings are the three big things. So if it's a meeting, they would already have it, at least in today's world, and we can talk about if the process doesn't make sense. But today's world is they have a meeting, it's already booked in Salesforce. When they get out of the meeting, they are updating customer service notes from the meeting and then any additional action items. And then there's this evaluation, right, that needs to happen by the managers to understand, is it a 1, 2, or 3, right? Touch call would be something that they would be actively making and creating. And then the wows would be something that they would be logging as they do it. They may plan it ahead, but it may, more likely would probably be that they would be doing it as it happens.
Okay. Okay.
If that changes the direction potentially on it.
I think, Brad, you were saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when you could have the functionality update meeting notes and it would pull up your recent meetings to select and choose from and update the customer service notes. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, that was part of it we were thinking, they could almost kind of recognize I'm on account, whatever. Here's the meetings that I'm waiting to update on or whatever. It could show you some of them. And then to your point, Amanda, you're saying there, it almost kind of links it at that point. Then you could add information, close that out, get credit for it, but yet do that. And then the manager part is interesting too. The screen flows as they're finishing up could create the information in the system, but then if you want a task follow up for the manager to say, go in and review this or some other activity, we can do that. We just need to talk through that, kind of see what you're thinking. But yeah, I think it's a great use case flow through that. Clay, this is the one you and I were talking about a while back of trying to create some kind of custom object for meetings and all that stuff. You still agree?
Because it seems like they're entering so much after a meeting that maybe it doesn't make sense for it to actually be an event anymore. Maybe it needs to be blown up into a bigger object.
Do you all, let me ask you from the business perspective, do you think that something more simplified like that with a couple fields that they have to kind of click through, do you think that would be a better win for them versus you think they would want to stick with the event that they created? We're kind of doing a little bit of distance with the functionality, but at the same time, we're kind of trying to simplify it to enter it to get more information from them and clue them in. I don't know if that makes sense. Sorry, it's been a long day.
I think it does make sense of what you're saying. I think part of it is, so maybe twofold. One is potentially even coming out of I don't know if there's going to be any ties to AE source stuff, but when we book an event, right, or something that we had a meeting, right, what do we need it to do? We needed to check some boxes that it's occurring to hit certain things, right, whether that's satisfying an opportunity or a core meeting, right, that we're documenting it. But then what are the things that need to happen outside of that? Do we need to change it away from an event, or are there other screen flow things that can happen to help satisfy that? Because I don't know if we need to create, and I'm just asking this, I don't know if we need to create this whole separate thing when we're still potentially using task, cases, events. Does it need to be this whole other thing, or is that thing the holding place for it? I don't know.
Well, the thought is, it seems like the events are getting blown up into more and more, and we really don't have that many fields on task and events. So, just if it makes sense, possibly, would we rather blow it up into something bigger when you come back and you really download what happened in that meeting? Because right now we just have a couple fields, and we wouldn't be able to go a whole lot larger. I mean, there's certainly some available, but
Throw one more in there, and this is just me sitting here at 4:51 in the afternoon talking. One other idea could be that just like we're doing with the notes, Clay, on the cases, all the different places they could put notes at, we almost maybe think about taking tasks and events off of the items, the other objects out there. So in essence, you have to create your pre-meeting notes or whatever, or set up meeting in this process too. And then when you come back, you use the same functionality. I mean, it's just an option. Maybe that way we keep them all in one area.
So long term, Amanda, are you thinking that maybe we explore logging an event more this way instead of the way that we're doing it today, and look at that as a big picture?
Yeah, I think part of it's what do we need? We have a meeting with a customer, right? And then what do we need to do or document out of that meeting that we've had? And I'm trying not to say event because I don't want to get stuck in that way of thinking, but like what are the things that we may need to do coming out of that? And then what else does it need to feed? Right? Whether that's reporting, alerts, right, for CS alerts, or this kind of judging reporting that we're getting for MBG quality.
Okay.
Does mocking it up a little bit help you, or just talking about it? Maybe we get to get back together and talk about it at some great meeting.
I think maybe part of it is talking with our business partners about, hey, I know we're talking about this on MBG. Let's think a little bit more comprehensively. Let's stop talking about a feature. Let's talk about the experience that we want to have.
There you go.
And handle that. I think that's going to give
great.
us a little bit more direction and help give you all some more path. And I think sometimes our challenge is how to see the forest, right? And not just look at the tree. And I think on this, we're looking at the tree. When the business is talking about this, like, I just need to satisfy this. Why do we need to talk about all this other stuff? Right? When that could help us have a more holistic solution.
As you go down that road, can I ask one question as you go down that road? Is a wow, is a meeting note, is a touch call, at the end of the day, could they just be, it's a meeting of some sort or a follow-up of some sort to a meeting? I guess what I'm trying to say is we're kind of breaking out events and tasks and meeting notes and all this stuff is kind of separate objects. I think that's where you're going, is trying to say, do we have something that is a better chute to put everybody through? And then however you quantify, pick things and do, we'll figure out on the back end how to put that information into the system to best get you what you need. But it's a seamless front end for the users regardless, and done.
Yeah, because part of what I'm thinking about with it is like, I'm an AE, I've had a meeting and it's been a presentation and I'm ready to send agreements, right? Like, does that give a different flow? And is that something else that could be embodied in this, right? Because it's still an event, it's still a meeting that we're having. And then better tracking of like how to raise up the right documents, how to serve them up, how to track them, all of these different things are conversations that are going to be coming out of AE SOAR and have come out of journey mapping. So does that tie into the solution, and does that help give a more comprehensive thing to solve instead of this one-off?
Yeah.
That, like, when I say that, does that even sound like something that, because it feels like something that would be solved in the same vein?
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
Simplistically, put it all together as best you can. Go get some thoughts around it, talk to them. And maybe that's the next step. We just wait to hear back from you guys, and then we can go from there then.
Because I'm thinking about, like, if I'm thinking kind of like just high level on it, just like how to, almost from like a story map perspective of like, we're talking about meetings, what do we want to do with meetings, right? And walking through that piece.
I'm not gonna steal Sam's thunder, so I'm not gonna do it. But I will show.
Make it rain, aren't you?
I'm gonna give you just a little, just because it might get you really pumped.
Okay.
But about having communication down in the log a post or whatever, or an activity, then people were doing that big fat text field and they were just appending information to it at the top, and then we were trying to get them to use comments, and it just turned into a hellacious thing. So we had Sam do this I just need a log communication. So is it a customer contact information? Is it internal? Is it a request update? Whatever this is, we don't know. But now we're able to kind of typecast these notes that are your one to put on a case And then based on the type or other information that's in there, it goes and does different activities on the case for you. It might move the status. It might send out an email. It might throw a task out there. So now we're saying don't use all those other features. We're going to take that off the table. And this is the way you write communication to the case. As a one-stop shop, done. And now I'll let him get into the excitement of it. But that's how this customer contact, for instance, triggers your milestones to say, how do I restart the 48-hour clock? That's all how we're doing it now. So we'll show you more of that next week. But think of the same way with the meetings, notes, whatever we're talking about doing here. And act surprised on Monday when Sam shows you that.
Okay. Okay, and so the other thing that we had was can we add the functionality of editing a company type back in 2.0? So that was one thing that came up from the field. I don't know if that was intentionally turned off or if that's something we can just, I guess they could edit the company type before from the page and now they can't do that. Is that something we can easily turn back on, or we need to add into that ticket with things to bring back?
Yeah, we can easily get that turned back on. We just got to consolidate all the items and go ahead and do one push now. And if there's another push later after we do some of these other spikes, then we can do that at that time.
Okay, so we just need to add that. Gabrielle, I can forward you that email that the field sent in with, and so we can add it to the ticket, and I can reference the ticket on the items that we're adding back from 2.0.
Okay. Is this an existing ticket or one that I will create?
It's an existing ticket.
Okay.
This going in the next sprint, is that what that is?
That was the one that we were, I don't know if that spike where it is in the completion to research the items that tie to and sent.
Okay.
It's being worked right now.
Okay.
The ideal scenario that Jackie was aiming for is that if we can gather those and they're pretty easy to bring back because they were in the old view and we just need to resurface them, to try to do that in this sprint. But if not, then we'll just postpone turning off 1.0 until we can get those items added back in the next sprint.
Oh, no. No. If you want to turn off the app, we'll get these into production for you. Don't you worry about that.
That would be great. Because I didn't even send emails directly about utilization to the AEs because there are so many fields that they can't use in 2.0. So it doesn't make sense to say, hey, you're not using it. And I'll get a flood of emails back on what they're missing that we already know in our documenting. So I think that will be the rounded out with the AEs transitioning over. And this is more of a technical question that just came up, but just so I understand, and when you log in 2.0, whether it's console or Salesforce, it always takes you to the homepage now, correct? Like it won't take you to what you were working on.
If you don't close those things out, then they will stay there.
Like if you get out of close out of Salesforce and come back the next day.
Hasn't it always done that?
So I guess here's the question specifically. I guess in 1.0, the user could, I'm going to share my screen. In 1.0, I guess the user could have their split view open and have task. And when they log back in, the split view stays open and they can work it. Now, if you have it in split view and close out and come back the next day, you start all over at the home page and your split view is gone. So you have to be in split view.
In 2.0,
Yeah.
maybe on your home page. So like I just logged back in and I am able to just open with the little, I've got the little sidebar click. I can share my screen if that
Yeah.
will help.
I tried it and it did the same for me. So
Because then I think this has kind of always been a thing. But I also am like, I don't know how big of a problem this is. So I have been logged out obviously for like a week, right? And so I opened it back up. It's split over here and I can grab it and get back into it. So I don't have to like redo anything. I can just do that because I was on leads.
So it's just minimized when you log back in.
Yeah. And if you're on your home screen, it always goes away. It's not present on your home screen. You have to
Right.
be on a page that allows for.
Right.
Object.
But
Yeah.
I did look for the arrow because I tested it too, and yeah, it didn't keep the split view. So let me try it again. It's probably just that little arrow there that is not.
And they may have done something in a different list view. Because like I think if you change your list view, it may remove that. So if I go to cases, right, that's gone away because then I'm not doing it over there. And if I change it and I keep it on table, it'll stay there. But then split view, I have to add it back and then I can work it. So it may depend on what they're doing up here to drive what's happening over here.
So your arrow that you clicked when you went back, like go back to another like account page or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it.
But the homepage doesn't allow for a split view, I think, because it's already condensed into so many different things.
That's correct.
No, see, it doesn't save that like that for me because I tried it too what the user was experiencing. So that's weird.
You're in console, right?
I'm in console. I'm going to close out my browser. Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm going to share my screen so y'all can tell me what I'm probably doing wrong here. Let's look. I know we're over time. Be quick. Okay. So like I'm on the account page. I have my split view up. We're groovy, right? Well, then I'm going to, hold on. Sorry. I'm going to close it out. And open. Let me start sharing again. I'll start from the beginning. So y'all, what I'm doing. Okay. So I go back into Salesforce after I've closed out. I go here. It's going to take me to the home page, right? We already talked about that. But then when I go back to Fly Clothing, where previously it showed me a split view, I don't have that little arrow here.
Hmm.
I wonder if you have a different.
Can you go to?
Sorry. Yep.
All sorts of curious.
Like in your little drop down guy, can you go to like cases or contacts or something? And then you have to change your, and then, yeah. And then it's not maintaining after that.
Yeah. And so then if I exit out and come back, I have to go do that again and change it back to split view every time I log in.
So the issue is that it's not maintaining the view.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what's showing up in the split view, it is maintaining those items. Or
Right.
well, those are just your list view anyway, so it would.
Yeah, that will be the same. But I think they were hoping if they had a split view set for task every day when they get to pages that they start working, that it would be there instead of having to go change it to split view and redo it. And I'm guessing that because they said that, it was working that way in 1.0.
Write up a ticket. Can we write up a ticket on that one?
Yeah,
We'll
I'd like to
do
look
some-
into that.
Amanda, you asked a question here. Angie Lauer have access to the analytic stock search cases dashboard. Clay?
I don't know that we've given it to anybody.
I'll go take a look.
I thought when we showed it that day, she was like, yeah, I have access. Those stock search cases are pulling in with MBA cases. Or was she confused?
She may have been confused, but there are some stock search things coming up on the NBA dashboard. But I thought we actually did something to fix it potentially, but it may have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, she'd sent out a note earlier today that so each month she's tracking utilization of cases for AME requests. And so last month it went backwards about 4%, but then it went up 12% this month. So I sent her a note and I was just like, hey, I love seeing the percentages going up. We've been discussing some improvements with Haberstroh from your seats or anything that would be particularly helpful from a Salesforce perspective. And she actually said, yes, this makes me happy, which is great. Nothing from my seat on AME cases. Others request have it covered. However, I do have a question on stock search cases. And she was asking about like the creation of a dashboard. And I'm like, we're not really doing that yet. But if I could point her to something else, right, that, hey, we're not doing that additional work right now, right, on that. But this is something that could exist or that you could have access to, or if we don't feel comfortable with that, either way. But
So I guess I'm confused. Which dashboard is it? You said analytics, so this is our.
Case age, Amanda? That
sorry?
shows all that. Is this the case age one where it shows the stats of how many are open, how long they've been open? That
For
kind of
stock
thing?
search specifically. Yep.
Yeah. Remember the case age one you did, Clay?
It was just called cases.
Yeah, it's just titled cases.
Yeah, so that was not intended to be used by the field yet. So it is not in a folder she should have access to.
Okay. I didn't think so. So I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah. Are you asking to have it open for her or just kind of?
Not necessarily. I was just trying to understand where we are. And then I'll kind of pose back to her, kind of, here's what we have. We've been using this for internal purposes. We have not moved forward with it because of this. Is this something that you feel like you need right now to help manage? Or is it something that you just want some insight to? That way we can kind of gauge what the next best step is, because she may not need access to it. And if it's something where we're still like, hey, it's not, this was what we thought would be valuable. It may not be what your heart desires, right? So just, you know what I mean? I just want to make sure we're setting the right expectations based on what she needs before I send anybody down a access or any sort of rabbit hole.
Truthfully, I mean, it's up to you, man. If you want us to open it up, I wouldn't open it to anybody else beyond her, because it will be changing. But if that'll help, if it helped you think get some more conversation out of her for what they want and all that, that'd be wonderful. Because we've not spent much time in this area yet of what they want to report on and tracking. Yep. Cool.
Gabrielle, you put, do we have any training videos or demos of the, do you mean like what, as far as their role and what they do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like ideally I'd like to shadow a couple of those people, but that's not realistic. So maybe training videos for them or demos from them.
We did a series of reverse demos a couple of years ago, so some of it may be out of date. But we do have some of those if I can locate them. And I'll share the folder. We did ours, pioneers.
That'd be good. I understand all the fields and what we're doing, but context helps.
Yep.
Cool. Did we answer all the questions today?
Can we circle back to the digest item, because we may need to send out a communication of like, hey, this isn't working, or what's expected, or kind of I don't know.
Yeah, I have no news right now. It's
Okay.
basically I have to just go test it or something. I'm not real sure just yet.
Okay.
You got that one, Clay?
When there's an issue like that, do we usually post there? Do we usually does the email usually come out like from support that says it's not working? Or how does that usually work?
Typically, once we find an issue like that, we would have this tier 1 send out a support email.
Cool.
So, Amanda, do we need to do any other communication outside of that, or should we usually post these two, or that's fine?
We would need to craft that email. So that's usually some sort of collaboration between like the app dev team and the product team, wherever necessary, to help get that together, and then send it to IT communications and CC Grelly on it, Steve Grelly. I think that's what I've always done. I don't know, Brad, is that your?
Yeah, that way he'll be the front line.
And then
So we can give Matt's out for the week. We can give Eric a heads up on it too.
do we, well, obviously we're not going to have an ETA, but just more of, we're aware, is it appropriate to say to attach to a particular incident?
I mean, I really couldn't say yet because I haven't researched it enough. I mean, if I feel like I've seen 2 users so far.
Yeah.
I mean, just in my personal opinion, that's not enough for me to sound the alarm yet.
Yep.
Especially not at like 5 o'clock. You know, if it is something wrong, there's a good chance they'd get it fixed overnight or something.
Right.
Why don't we just say I know we're going to be in a meeting first thing in the morning, but then we can do a regroup mid-morning and just give you an update if we have anything. That might help context a little bit more.
You want to put a reminder just to touch base through Teams in the morning with the team and check and see where we are? Okay.
You okay?
Do that.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. Welcome back, Amanda. Thank you for that beautiful the eagle talon thing there. But
the falcon?
Whatever the falcon was, I kept looking beyond the falcon going, how beautiful that picture was. So
yeah, they have I did send Brad a couple of pictures. They had a falcon on the property, 2 falcons to help like with rodents and whatnot. So I dropped him a couple of pics.
Beautiful.
Which was kind of fun.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Like a 2-hour managers meeting today too.
Yeah, and then 2.5. How many hours of meetings do we have this morning, Erica, for product team?
I don't know, 3?
3? Yeah.
Or close to it, 2.5, 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So your first day back is full of just meetings. Nothing like a day to get stuff done, right?
Yeah. Brad, how are you feeling on the surface now? I was reading back over the email that was kind of going back and forth a little bit toward tomorrow.
Yeah, Sacco put a lot of stuff in there that made it sound like we're going to come in there and show stuff. We're not doing that tomorrow. We don't have anything to show. I mean, we're still going to show you guys CS Alerts next week, which will be part of it, but we don't have anything to show. So it was going to be a continuation of what we talked about last week. And I talked to Ryan this morning. He was adamant about, let's get these guiding principles together. And just keep going down that road. So we'll start with that. I threw out a couple. I did have some time to go back this week and get into a little bit more. There's some things in there we can just kick out. There's some things that don't look like it needs to be in Salesforce, but I don't know where it lives. So I've got some. That's that spreadsheet that's in there. We can just kind of, as we're talking through guiding principles, kind of go, okay, here's an example of something like that. Where does that go? I don't know if it'll help or not tomorrow. So that was kind of what we're going to try to move toward. Yeah, tomorrow at least. Cool. And Gabriel, you're cool with taking notes tomorrow on that call.
Yeah, sorry, you guys. I'm a little behind. But okay, so I'm going to write up the notes for this one as well. And then we talked about the 1606 MuleSoft ticket. What am I supposed to be? What
I
was
got
I
that
going
one.
to do? Okay.
I'll take that one.
Erica, you're going to send me the company ticket, the existing company type ticket, and the email. And then I'm going to create a ticket about the split view. Does that cover it?
Erica, I'll also take that one about the email notifications on those pilot support cases. I've got that down.
Yeah, that would be great. And just Amanda, before y'all hopped on, I just asked him if he could just create me an alert if a pilot support case is created, especially if we move into more pilots with the stock search. Because right now, I almost forgot about them. Honestly, I'm like, oh yeah, we still have people submitting, unless I go in and check it every single day. So at least give me a notification so I can send it to Brad if it's technical or disperse where needed. So he's going to set that up for me.
Cool. Well, good call. Man. So I guess these calls are still working. We'll keep these up for a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me at least, I try to keep my list of questions if I can for like each week, so I don't bombard y'all all week and bother you in the middle of stuff. So these are very helpful for.
Time you need us, you know where we're at. Don't wait if there's anything going crazy. You yell.
I think it helps to, like, when something is urgent, that we can be an interruption, right? And then if it's not urgent, these calls are great. So it can be that combination of anything that's kind of come up throughout the week, but that'll help us make sure we're helping everybody, right? Like, just with a workflow, because everything can't be an emergency, but we appreciate y'all.
Next time we get together, let's talk about one more item, and that's let's get back now that I'm freed up a little bit, Amanda and Erica. It's been great. I've actually started thinking about this roadmap thing. We've been trying to figure out where to park it, put it, whatever we're going to do. We got a couple options I want to show to you and just kind of talk through some of that. So that might be next week.
Yep. And I'm apparently starting, I don't know if there's being part of a road mapping pilot that's targeted toward FPT. So I don't know if that will help with any additional insight as well. But yeah, I'm totally with you on how can we simplify and help make this a better process, because there was a lot that went into kind of that first evaluation, right? And then team got shifted, wasn't working out. So now that we're all back, I would love, and I'm speaking for Erica too, I think like a roadmap is the way to all of our hearts. So that different ways to help work toward that would be great.
Cool. All right. Next week, we'll talk about that too. We'll go to a full hour. How's that? All right. We got to go call Sam. He's wanting to show off something. I don't know. You know, Sam.
Fun. I like Sam's show and tells. Those are fun.
He's going to resurrect the use case of, was it Joel and Cindy again for Monday's call? So
see, I don't understand that. I gave him a much better suggestion. I said he needs to use Jake from State Farm, and then his manager is going to be Flo from Progressive. And he was like, that's great. And then nothing happened. Like, what the hell? Like some random Cindy and whoever. Like, nobody remembers that. But Flo and Jake from State Farm, remember that.
All right. Jack and Diane.
We can do Jack and Diane. That way everybody will have a song stuck in their head.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit of John Cougar. Is it Cougar or is it Mellencamp now? What are we going with him?
I don't know, man. But poor Erica may be able to empathize on this a little bit. They're like song things live in my head, and I love making up new words to songs. And poor Emma was in person with us today, and so she also got subjected to it, not just on the meeting where I terrorized everybody with my bad whatever, but then when we drove to lunch, she was also in the car and was subjected to even more. And I'm like, she probably is like, what did I do?
So I get myself into.
And she was like, is there a warranty period? Can I go back? No.
Can I like peel this real quick?
Right.
No, keep it up. I love the singing.
Well, let me go see if I can find that ice cream man around the corner and get some ice cream.
Get it
before he-
done.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Thanks, y'all. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.